Now, something you're not taught when you buy an appliance like a dishwasher is how to load it properly. Now, the manufacturer's instructions will cover the basics, and they will cover you for things like some of the operation of the appliance itself, but not necessarily guidance on how to load it properly. So what I want to do is to show you today on some hints and some tips on things to look out for when you're loading your dishwasher, and also some of the features that some of the dishwashers have, what they do, and how they can make life a lot easier. So let's have a look. So the first tip I'd recommend is, I know it's quite unmanly, but read through the instructions of your dishwasher, because what you'll find is there might be some features in the dishwasher that really might benefit you. So have a quick read through the instructions, and that really might help you. So the next tip is to make sure that there's always space in between everything. So what I mean by that is that when you load it, make sure that things like these two bowls are not touching each other, because what you'll find is if they are touching each other, then at that point it's not going to get it clean. So what you want to do is spread everything out, and by doing that, then that allows the water, whether it's from above or down below, to get in between the two items and to make sure it's fully clean. And that goes for the plates as well. What you want to do is to make sure that they are spread out. So if you try and put them too close to each other, then you'll find that they could be touching and you won't get the same result that you want. So the next tip is, if you're washing things like big pans, then clearly you can put it at the bottom here. Things like pans and everything dirty, it was always recommended to wash at the bottom, and things like your glasses and any plastic items, you're always recommended to wash in the top. But as I say, if you're washing things like pans, then although you can put it at the bottom like that, look out for features in your dishwasher to try and make life a bit easier. So in this dishwasher, then you can actually fold these down, and this creates a nice flat area, and it just makes life a lot easier when you're washing things like the saucepan. So it's a much better option, and what you'll find is that most decent dishwashers will have these options, and there are some in the bottom and there's normally some in the top as well. So really I'd recommend looking out for that. Even if you've got smaller items like this saucepan, then it can make life a lot easier. Now the next thing to think about is, should you rinse all your plates and bowls? Now what you'll find is there's quite a split decision on this. Some people will rinse everything. I know this is clean, but some people will rinse things before putting them in the dishwasher. Other people will say no, they don't. The main thing I'd recommend, and I suppose what we do at home, is we tend to get rid of any food residue on the plate or bowl, just to make sure there's no food on there. We don't tend to rinse a lot nowadays, because what you'll find is most dishwasher, well, all dishwashers have the filter, and it's really something to bear in mind. So on this dishwasher you've got the filter here, and it's certainly worth getting familiar with this. So make sure you know how to clean it, because what you'll find is, especially if you don't clean things like your plates before you put them in the dishwasher, then this could get fairly clogged up and the performance won't be as good as it should be. So the next tip is to make sure that when you've got things like glasses or cups, that what you want to do is, first of all, make sure they're upside down. You'd be surprised how many people try and put them in like that, and then they're quite surprised when it's full of water when it's finished. So make sure it's upside down, and also make sure that any of these are at an angle. And I know for a lot of people that sounds fairly basic, but if you go and put it here in the middle, then again you'll get the pool of water in the top here. It won't drain off properly. So I would always recommend putting some of those mainly on the edge, or if you've got somewhere in the middle like that where it can sit. What you don't want is, you don't want it to be sat in the middle somewhere where it can be rattling around during the washing program. And what you can find is, if that was near to another glass item, then it could damage it as well. The next recommendation is to use features like this. So this is a Neff dishwasher, and between the brands Bosch, Neff and Siemens, they all have this as a feature, mainly on some of their better end dishwashers. But this is called Rackmatic, and what this allows you to do is to adjust the height of the top basket. And they're on different positions, but what you can do is you can do it both sides to make sure it goes down level, but if you need to, you can just lower it one side, and that really is an excellent feature. And if you've got things like tall glasses going down one side, then you can just lower that, or also if you've got big plates at the bottom, then you can actually raise it up as well. So this is a fairly standard design of a cutlery basket nowadays. Now if you put everything in like this, if you just throw it in, then you can't expect to get fantastic results. Ideally you want to go for a brand that offers a cutlery basket like this, and what this enables you to do is to put everything in the individual slots like that. And so what that does is that spaces everything out, and basically the result that you'll get from washing will be a lot better. But something else to bear in mind is that when you're loading the cutlery, just make sure that any stainless steel and silver cutlery isn't touching each other, because it can actually tarnish it over time. Now I know for some people it sounds quite obvious, but when you've got things like sharp knives, then make sure that they're facing down when you put them in the cutlery basket. I know some people will still put them up like that, hoping to get a better wash performance, but I must admit we have heard of mainly children that have actually been injured where they've fallen over and actually fell onto a knife. So personally I would rather load it like that, and even if it doesn't get it perfectly clean, I'd much rather that than the risk of someone getting injured. Now if your cutlery basket hasn't got this section on here, so if you can't spread everything out, and if yours looks a bit like this, then when you're loading things in, just make sure that you try and spread things out a little bit. And what I mean is, when you've got things like little spoons, try not to put them all the same way in there. If you try and spread them out, so put some in upside down, and what you'll find is that again the washing performance should be a lot better, and just try and spread it all out like that. Now you will find that some dishwashers have this kind of cutlery drawer at the top. Now these are absolutely fantastic, and a lot of dishwashers that we sell now have this type of option. What you'll find is it's a lot easier to load, so it allows you the option to spread everything out properly, and personally I do like these because I think they're a lot safer, so at least you've not got the knife sticking up from underneath. And again, it can take a while to actually load them, but what you should find is that by spreading everything out, and clearly you can do it closer than this, but by spreading everything out, then the actual performance should be a lot better. So the next tip is to make sure that when you've loaded the dishwasher, just before you put it on, just make sure that the arm underneath the top rack can rotate properly. Because, and I must admit that I've done it at home myself, where you come to empty the dishwasher and then you realise that there's still quite a lot of food residue, and you realise that that has got stuck on something, so it can't rotate fully. So just have a quick look underneath, just try and spin it round, and if it's blocked by something like a pan, or the classic one is things like a long knife, if you've had it in the cutlery basket, then just move that round so that it can swing freely. If you're going to load the dishwasher like this, where as you can see here you've got the bowl and the plate that are touching each other, and all of the cutlery is thrown into the basket here, then you shouldn't expect the result to be that good. There's no room for the water to get around everything, so if when it's finished then you've still got bits of food, for example on the plate, then don't be surprised. So the next tip is to make sure that whatever you're putting in the dishwasher is dishwasher safe. Now I know it sounds quite obvious, but if you've got things like a special cup, so this is one that I got for my birthday once, then I must admit sometimes I might not put it in the dishwasher, I might hand wash it. And also things like plastics, put my teeth back in, those things like plastic items, first of all, if you do put them in, only put them in the top rack, don't be tempted to put in the bottom rack, because what you'll find is that the temperature is actually hotter at the bottom than at the top. But just make sure, have a look underneath, and I know you probably can't see it, but the instructions on this, it has a little image of a dishwasher and it's got an arrow pointer to the top. So it's saying that it is suitable for a dishwasher, but make sure it goes on the top rack. So some items are a big no-no to put in the dishwasher. First of all, it's things like wood. So anything wooden, things like a wooden chopping board, wooden spoons, then just don't be tempted to put them in. They're not designed to cope with going into a dishwasher. There are other things like some copper items and bronze items, things like pans, that are not ideal to go into a dishwasher, but I'd always recommend looking at the manufacturer's instructions before putting them in there. The next tip is to make sure that you use good quality brands when it comes to the detergents and everything that's designed to go in the dishwasher. So first of all, make sure you use salt, proper dishwasher salt. Don't use table salt, which we have had a couple of customers use, and they're surprised when the performance of the machine wasn't that great. Rinse aid is vital. So although on the little tablets that you might buy, they might say a 3-in-1 or 4-in-1, I'd always recommend using separate rinse aid and salt for that matter. Look through your drawer, because chances are you'll have something like this. And this is really designed so that when you go to fill up the salt towards the back of the dishwasher, it just stops the salt going everywhere. Also, when it comes to the salt, make sure that it is stored in a dry place. What you'll find is that there's nothing worse than storing it in a damp place, sometimes under say a kitchen cabinet, because what you can find is if it does get damp, then if it gets all clumpy, then it won't perform as well when you go to put it in the machine. The other things to look out for are things like this. This is called a large item spray head, and this is really designed for cleaning large items. So the best way to show you is if you take the top basket out of the dishwasher, and this isn't on all dishwashers. This item is from a Bosch dishwasher, but quite a few other brands use it as well. And all you do is go to the middle hole at the back, twist it first of all anti-clockwise until it pushes over, and then turn it clockwise till it locks. And that's designed so if you've got things like big grill racks, or say the racks from your oven, then they can stand upright in here, and that just really disperses the water around the dishwasher. This is something that a lot of people have got no idea what it does, but that's called the large item spray head, and that's what it does. So one of my final tips is basically don't overload the dishwasher. I know there's nothing worse than you do your Sunday roast and you go and put everything in, and then you just got say a couple of pots and pans left, or you got a couple of plates, and you think, oh, just get those in there. We've all done it. I've done it at home myself, so I'm guilty of it. But don't overload it. Either put it to the side and do it in the next wash, or hand wash it. But again, as one of my earlier tips, try and make sure that everything's got space in between. Because there's nothing more frustrating than putting those couple of plates in and then realising after you've done the wash that it's not clean. Now, if I have missed something, or if you've got any hints and tips on loading your dishwasher, it's just something you do at home, then leave it in the comment below. I always appreciate any comments I get from people. Also, whatever your thoughts about the video, let me know. But please give us a thumbs up, click subscribe on a YouTube video. Thanks for watching.